What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. We have huge movements up and down within the market that are going to spark some more general conversations during this market watch, which a lot of you guys seem to enjoy when it comes to market theory. And the first one that's been way too hard to ignore, which I get around to things eventually, but between Facebook, Discord, the comment section, so many people have pointed out Sky Striker Ace Kagari is over $100. This is crazy. And then following suit very recently, Sky Striker Ace Shizuku has skyrocketed in price up above $90. Well, first off, in the OCG for a good bit, these were worth more over there towards 60 than our market, while these were chill at 30, so we had some copies leave internationally. Now you have people looking at it as a viable rogue deck. You have Ryan use Win a bit ago, and then we've changed formats, but Widow Anchor peeling off rehyped this, so more quantities went off the market, and now I hear some rumblings of it's the Eternal format, John. People, it's the last good Yu-Gi-Oh! They want to play Salomon Great, they want to play Orcus, they want to play Thunder Dragon. That's why Colossus has stayed above 50, John. I think Colossus is more banless speculation, if anything. A lot of people are thinking this is okay to peel off the one. Nemesis Corridor's no big deal. Look at the OCG, he's fine over there. And to that I say, think of how many people have deep stacks of these first off, and I think the actual clamor to sell these, if it did peel off the one, will be kind of hilarious, because when this was at 3, it had a lower price. I remember these selling for $40-ish, and now it's higher, but time has passed. Usually if we're talking like a banned card, an ultimate rare, it's Maxi, but Colossus has had a lot more eyes on it and a lot more conversation and hope. Yeah, instead of bandless fears, it's bandless hopes now, which is what originally drove the price down. Also to note, OTS stores can now sell this as a single because OTS pack 14 is out, so we're now 4 packs ahead of 10. You have 11, 12, 13, 14. So with this, I believe OTS stores are allowed to sell this as a single. I digress. Back to the original conversation. I don't think this is because people love the Eternal format, although it has a lot more conversations from newer duelists. We've seen that time and time again. A couple of years after a format like Nekroz format, even Zodiac format, pros will really get into playing something and maybe get a little bit of it off market, but not enough to make a screaming jump in price like this. I think the investment is more interesting in terms of, wow, this is archetypal ultimate rares rather than hand traps or general secret rares that are jumping up right now that you're putting your money into, but something very specific, and we'll see where it goes from there. But actual sales have the market price up. It really has gone off market to some extent for the Sky Strikers, and calm down, it's not a waifu, she's in high school. Please calm down. Rise of the Duelist, the booster boxes have gone up a lot more. Earlier this morning, these $130 listings weren't actually there, and the lowest was 143 a box. They've been disappearing from pretty much everywhere, and to this I say, do keep in mind how bad your pulls can be, and this Adamantipator, friends, is not your friend when you're opening this one. And so many boxes I've seen have like $15 in total pulls. Somebody in the Discord actually just recently had that happen to them. That 1 in 24 chance at a Starlight rare also isn't worth it. We sorely need an unlimited printing of some kind for the set, and while you have the money, secret rares, you know, Triple Tactics Townsman floating around the 100, Droplet at 85, Nadir Servant above 70. The rest of the cards, while you're chasing after those 3, they haven't been the greatest. This also leads to a conversation that has happened in every single stream, so I want to address it here. John, should I invest in Phantom Rage? Look at Rise of the Duelist. Phantom Rage seems really amazing. I do agree there will be multiple chase cards along with a good archetype. You have Tri-Brigade, which can boost Zodiac to the next level. You have Zeus. You have the Alpha Master Beast, or whatever he's named now, that is being compared a lot to Pankratops, that has his pluses and minuses versus Pankratops. And you can still get them for around $63 a box using code WhatsGood5 on YBM. My thought here is this though, while it might have multiple chase cards, we still don't know all the Starlights. One is a Charmer, which is a Link monster being Hito, so that's probably going to be 300 Plus, we'll look at other Starlights later and have that conversation, though, about Starlight rares. When it comes to the chase cards, multiple are there also. I just don't know about investing in the Phantom Rage and core sets. It's been hit after hit, though, so I can see why people's attention is this way, but do think of the amount of time. There's something called opportunity cost, where you put your money in one thing that takes the opportunity of being able to put it elsewhere. How long might you be sitting on Phantom Rage versus where if you had your money free and you could put it into singles, flip those singles, get money back, put the money in? How long will you be sitting on Phantom Rage versus shipping versus fees on a bulkier thing than a single? Do keep all that in mind, and if you're busting it open, you should be buying enough to press the RNG aspect and guarantee that you're making money versus Starlight rares, and hopefully they all turn out pretty good, because the rest of the 4 should be within the set itself, since Hida is the import Starlight. Now, talking about staples, Ghost Ogre has kind of gotten more out of the format, even though Numeron Network still sees play here and there. It's not as prevalent as we thought. Originally, this had spiked way harder, and it's still a decent price at around 125-ish, and you see multiple sellers lining up there. But the secret rare is interesting to me in multiple facets, because the Unlim is still above where I thought its crash point would be. I thought it would be at 50 even right now, or under. It's staying above 50 for the Unlimited, and the first edition is here in the 70s, which is past. We'll get into that in a bit. 75 here, and you see other copies, and then not the most in the world. It's a long time lived secret rare, and every time there's a price hike, it doesn't mean people are going to jump at the bit just to sell it. Ash Blossom's first edition is cheaper. Its Unlims are around the same price, but I feel like this, well, actually, the Unlims start way cheaper. My bad. The Unlims are actually a decent amount cheaper at around $40. And yes, this came out later than Ghost Ogre, much later in history, but Maximum Crisis was a huge set. You see they're around $60 for the first editions, which is 15 under. Now, Ghost Ogre had a recent hype, but you're seeing other first edition secret rares get heavily invested in, especially when they're the top rarity. How long have we waited for something like a ultimate rare and now a collector rare of Ash Blossom, an upgrade? It would be nice, but you see Ghost Ogre does have that upgrade, and it's managed to spike its first edition past Ash Blossom again. Infinite Impermanence is an insane example where these are the lowest first editions. $105 is borderline ridiculous, but the Unlimiteds are 70, and this is because we still don't have a cheap reprint. Every single version of this seems to be behind some crazy MSRP product, $30, short printed, all that kind of stuff. So Infinite Impermanence just continues to rise, and it'll be interesting if all these do end up in Gold Series to see how the new Gold technology is perceived by the community and what it might do to the highest rarity versions. But this is insane how these kinds of cards keep trekking up in price for their original secret rares, especially during this time where less people are actively playing, although you do have remote duels and people playing for prizes, so there is that aspect. I think there was like a 300 freaking person tournament for remote duels from Peru actually today. I saw in the Fluffle groups that Fluff was top 16, so I'll be trying to kind of peer into that for some coverage, but it's kind of crazy to see where the market has moved from just the ultimate rares, highest rarity, yeah, always go highest rarity, the first set originals being taken a lot more seriously on a ton of these cards. Now, let's talk about Fallout. It's not all price hikes, gains. Collector rares have taken a nosedive, and even the first editions aren't immune. We now see Unlimited BLS, which was one of the most demanded collector rares, $100, but when we look for the first editions, $325 instead of $380 now, and there's multiple people lining up at this price point, although it's a couple, and then you see it does rise somewhat quickly versus who wants to sell it. Collector rare, a lot of people don't like how it looks. They call it the thumbprint rarity, while others love how it looks. It's kind of a divisive subject when you ask one duelist or another how they feel about collector rare. But the one sure thing right now is even the highest end ones are having big fallout, which leads me to the conversation on Genesis Impact. This is when I told you guys, man, collector rares don't seem as strong as they were. Toon Chaos Konami had a lot more liberties to make them good. You're going to see a lot more archetypal base collector rares, I think, in this one, although Cyber Emergency could be good. I wonder what imports that they'll be able to do into this set, because this was an original OCG set where Toon Chaos had TCG/World Premieres, and you look at Genesis Impact, and I don't think that as you pump 15 more collector rares each time, you're going to see a very big success in the collector rare market. So right now, big fallout across the board, even among first editions. I want to see Gamma's hot. Let's check in and see if they're actually around 180. I don't know. React Andy here, but I have no clue where first edition is right now. Yeah, it's hanging in there, and that's something you're grabbing 3 of instead of 1 of if you're going all the way with it. So some collector rares digging their heels in the sand a little, down very marginal in percentage to their card. $5 is still $5, but when you look at the market as a whole, it is not enjoying itself. Let's check in on Stardust too. Ooh, okay, let's see where the first edit is. This is, I only looked at BLS before doing this video. 250 is not the worst in the world. Remember this trying to be forced to $400. Have to wonder how people's pockets are that tried to make that one happen. But hey, whether you're going in on huge cards like these or small ones in general, use that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. Starlight rares have done nothing but go down recently, it feels like, unless it's a newer one where it has its bubbling up initially and then continues to settle down from there. Apollosa still sitting far under her above 1,000 price when she was being played at 3 for X-Trab. Lightning Storm kind of doing flips and loops, but the Charmers are where I want to focus this discussion. People assumed when we got the 4th Charmer, these would skyrocket in price and go crazy in demand. People would finish their collections, yet Wynn had a point where she was above 1,000 along with Apollosa, and now, oh, the 4th one's coming, it's time to list. This is the same conversation I had with Colossus. When a ton of people have a stock and they plan on when they're going to list when something happens, sometimes the market becomes overflooded with these cards, and wow, it takes a while before it gets back to hype prices. I remember only 2 being on the market at one point. You look at the other Charmers, the Water Charmer, I believe, had a point where it was higher in price, and now you have 350 here, motivated seller, 380, and it does head back towards 400 somewhat quick. But again, while these are supposed to be hype right now, people should want to finish their collections, the only one at an all-time high is Ausa, the more ignored one, as I guess people might actually be finishing those collections and people were prepared ahead of time. So whenever you have this general speculation, it doesn't always go as planned, and Starlight rares in general seem to be buckling in price and not really just stabilizing, or like you see this is starting to dig its heels in the sand, as I'm using the term again, around 150, but before all the Starlights were trying to be 200. That's huge losses versus people trying to force these up, but if you got into the 50 or 60 range for the trash Starlights, you're doing great. I remember this being more so towards 200s, the Trap Tricks, and it's not the most ignored deck in the world. It's just crazy where the Starlights have gone from these invincible, great-looking things to, yeah, a lot of those are kind of falling down. Like, I would have thought with all the hype happening around Triple T, it would be 500, but wow, so many people lining up at 400. I think when we're looking at new rarities and newer things, these markets are going to go in ways that we can't necessarily predict at times. While it does seem like they're very strong cards, crazy things could happen to it. It takes very deep, interested pockets to do so, and right now, a lot of those are turned on the collector market in general, and they're looking at a more OG stuff, like, well, there goes all the first set of LOB stuff, there goes the TP stuff, there goes Champion Pack, there goes Ultimate Rares that are old. That's more so where a lot of money's being driven now, and Starlight Rares are starting to feel a little left out in the wind and keep trickling on down in price, while Collector's Rares, they're kind of crashing in price, and there's 15 more to come to affect that market. Now, Toon Chaos, again, first edition was shorted. There's that conversation, whereas we'll see how Genesis Impact does. Genesis Impact's unlikely to have an unlimited print. They'll probably print cards later. I think Konami does pay attention to their secondary market, and we'll see that as a mistake, although many people are happy to be able to get unlimited collector rares, as you guys have also said in the comment section down below, for cheap. It's a nice little look, but dang, the people who who really toss their money at it, they're feeling the burn. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the conversations being more general, while also following price changes and what's going on. And thanks so much for watching.